$1.5 million would build schools, clinics, roads, and help develop the FATA, where extremism had up until this election continued to be taking deep root. We have to tie security aid to performance. We've been spending over $1 billion a year annually, and it's not clear we're getting our money's worth. We should be willing to spend more if we get better returns and less if we don't. The relationship we have with every other country that we engage in significant military aid. We need to help Pakistan enjoy what I refer to as a democratic dividend. Back in November, I called for a $1 billion immediate infusion into Pakistan in economic aid. Economic aid, if and when Pakistan returned to democratic rule as it has. To use a fancy term my congressional colleagues understand, we're about to vote on a supplemental appropriation bill, meaning not next year's budget, but for the budget that's underway to add on to it this year. And with the help of my two colleagues, we've been able to make a down payment of $150 million toward that $1 billion for next year in that budget. This money's going to help moderate, secular political leaders show the Pakistani people they can deliver the goods. Ladies and gentlemen, I know of no circumstance, and our British colleague knows this better than most of us. I know of no single circumstance in world history where democracy has thrived and the economy has failed. I know of none. I know of none. Say it again, none in their inception. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical moment. Pakistan's economic circumstance has taken a downturn. And we have to demonstrate, give the tools to the moderate voices in Pakistan to be able to deliver to the people under this, quote, new democratic coalition government, so they don't turn and say, under Musharraf, things were better. We must equip them. We have to engage the Pakistani people and not just their rulers. We need a broad-based engagement, not just a government-to-government engagement. And that gets into the issue that matters to Pakistanis, not just to us. Up to now, it's been, here's our problem, Pakistan. We need your help. We have been deaf. We have been unwilling to listen. Unwilling to listen to the problems of the Pakistani government, the Pakistani people, when they've come back and said, but we have this problem. It's been, here's our problem, here's what we'll do if you help us solve our problem. The plan I propose would fundamentally change the dynamic between the United States and Pakistan. And here's why. First, there'd be a significant increase in non-security aid guaranteed for a long period that I hope would help persuade the Pakistani populace that the American people are not fair weather friends, but we are all weather friends. It would also help persuade Pakistani leaders that America is a reliable ally. We're all politicians, those of us, whether we're from Great Britain or the United States or Pakistan. And we understand that unless we can deliver for our people, not much else matters. And so one of the difficult problems the Pakistani leaders, and scores of whom I have met with, tell me is, it's awful hard, Senator, to go out there and say something nice about the United States. It is not a popular position in my constituency. You need to give me a better excuse. Well, quite frankly, I hope this will give a better excuse. Right now, Pakistanis suspect our support is tactical and temporary. They point to the aid cutoff that followed the fall of the Soviet Union, to our refusal to either deliver or refund purchased jets through the 1990s, to our blossoming relationship with rival India, a relationship I support. But in the context of these other things, it is viewed as tipping the balance. Many Pakistanis believe that the moment Osama bin Laden is gone, U.S. interest will be gone too. Many average Pakistanis who I've met with in Pakistan believe that the moment bin Laden is gone, we will be gone. So, Pakistani policymakers hedge their bets, and Pakistani citizens view us in a hostile light. When U.S. aid makes a real difference in people's lives, the results are immediate and they're lasting. After the devastating earthquake, American Chinooks did more in one fell swoop for America's image than every single solitary thing we did from 1950 to that point. And many of you in this room played a part in that. Some of you, doctors, actually, I met a doctor today here whose son is a colonel in the United States Army and was a surgeon, I think it was the Army, maybe the Air Force, who was involved, and others who voluntarily went to Pakistan to help. It makes a big difference, and it does a lot more in the eyes of the Pakistani people than any amount of arms sales or debt rescheduling we do. Second, tying security aid, now about 3/4 of our package, to results, is going to push the Pakistani military into finally making the hard decisions they have to make. As I said yesterday, what is one man's terrorist is another man's difficulty. If you are sitting in Islamabad, Mahmoud is a very, very much more dangerous threat to you than a guy named bin Laden. Our inability to recognize that Masood is a bigger problem shows once again to the Pakistani people all we think about is the portion that relates to us. We have to understand their problem as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is, our security aid should understand that any democratically elected government has a right and an opportunity to negotiate. You heard the ambassador. He summed up better than I can what is a rational policy for a sitting government to deal with extremists in the Fatah and other parts of the country. We have to trust that the government means what it says. But we also have to trust and verify. Our aid should be based upon the verification of what is asserted that is being done, not dictate the precise policy. The Pakistani military was designed, as you all know as well as I do, to deal with a land war in India, not a counterinsurgency. They need to be better trained. In my meetings with the high-ranking military as well as the ISI for numerous occasions and for a long period of time in my last visit to Pakistan, they recognize it. They recognize it. But we have to recognize the sensibilities that exist as well and how that training is delivered. They know they need it, but it matters how it's delivered. Their performance to date has been mixed. We've caught more terrorists in Pakistan than any other country, but Pakistan remains the central base for Al-Qaeda. It's where they live now. To put things in perspective, the $11 billion we have spent on Pakistani military aid in 6 years is less than we spent in 6 weeks in Iraq. The Pakistani security services are going to be vital players for the foreseeable future. And we cannot simply insist that they combat the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. We've got to help them develop the capacity to deal with their own internal concerns as well as our external concerns. Our relationship with the Army and intelligence agencies, unlike our relationship with the nation as a whole, will always have a strong transactional element, as it does with every other military in the world. But we've got to make sure